today is a bit special. It is a playoff preview. I did a very good favour of going onto the Bill show, and it was fantastic. Check that out. It is the Red, White, and Buffalo Bill, I believe it's called.
The Red, White, and Buffalo Blues. Yeah, it's a little bit wordy of a title. But if you just jump on Twitter at UK_Bills, you'll get everything there.
There you go. And for those regular viewers, you obviously have spotted this is not my co-host Xavier, unless he has changed considerably overnight. I don't think you called Xavier, are you?
No, this is Alex. And I don't think they have that surgery yet. So.
So you've spoken a little bit, but please just introduce yourself to the Colts fans, to the Colt family out there, and just NFL, UK fans in general.
Yeah, so I'm Alex, representing the UK Bills. I'm from Buffalo. 3 years ago, I moved to the UK with my wife. She got a job over here. Found a UK Bills backer group on Facebook, and then they were like, hey, who wants to start a podcast? And I'm like, yes, no, yes, no, yeah, and I did. And we're doing pretty well right now, so it's been fun.
Excellent. Before we get into the show, just a big shout out to the UK Colts YouTube sponsor, that is Northern Summit Clothing. You can get caps, you can get t-shirts, jumpers, beanie hats, whatever you want. Even if you got an idea, send it to this guy and he will help you out and try and make your dream come true with a great piece of clothing. And let's get into the show. I had a fantastic time on your show last night. We seem to have a good laugh. It's getting ever closer. Are you getting any more nervous, or are you still confident the Bills have got this?
When I first woke up, I read a news story that the Earth is spinning a little bit faster. We're losing 1 second every day. So we're 1 second closer to the game than we normally would be. And that got me really excited. I'm nervous and excited because this is new territory for Bills fans. We've never been this good. We've never been favored like this. So it's an uncomfortable place to be. All year on our show, I talked about how amazing, how wonderful this is, how mind-blowingly good Alan Dable with Diggs and everybody else are so in sync. With that said, I'm not ready to say, yeah, we're going to roll you guys. Why am I even on this show? 2 seconds. We're going to win. Done. Over. I can't do that. Some Bills fans can do that. When we had Trent Edwards as quarterback, people were like 16-0, and I'm like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I'm nervously excited. Hopefully, the nerves don't make me drink too much. I will want to be cognizant for the whole game.
You say nerves there, and obviously at this time of the year, pre-game nerves and in-game nerves play a massive part on momentum and how a team plays. You guys have home field advantage. Are you a state that allows fans in? Or?
Yeah, so we haven't all season, but for this game, 6,772 fans. I don't know where they get that number from, but we will have fans. And I firmly believe, with how nuts Bills Mafia is, with how fast those tickets sold out, 6,772 fans are going to sound as close to 70,000 as humanly possible.
It's crazy because you say little fan. For people on the UK side of things who watch more soccer, stadiums are not as big as the NFL stadiums. There's some probably similar capacity, but you're talking the biggest soccer stadium in the UK is Wembley, where NFL games happen, and that's a 90,000 seater. Whereas in the US, it's not just the stadium that's filled; it's the parking, the tailgating. Obviously, it won't be happening this year for COVID reasons, which is a shame. But just what does it mean to you, and more so the Buffalo family, of getting to this point where you are, okay, I don't want to play the underdog card here, but you are the hottest team in the AFC. Maybe the Chiefs are a bit better.
Yeah, there's been uncomfortable talk in the national media about how we're the hottest team. We could challenge Kansas City. like I said, that's just a really weird place to come from. I mean, we're talking about two teams who, I mean, in the 90s, we were hot and then got really bad. And I mean, you guys went from, decent with Harbaugh, good in the 90s, then to Manning, then to Luck. I mean, when was the last time the national media was like, oh, the Colts, what a laugher. Like, we've been that for so long.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where, I'm most comfortable. So, this is really exciting times. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned tailgating. I mean, 1 o'clock Eastern game there. You're getting to the parking lot at 8 a.m. You're bringing a grill. Everyone's bringing food and drinks. Footballs are being thrown. And in Buffalo, people are taking ketchup and mustard baths. We're talking how many dollars worth of tables are getting busted. I just wish that energy was there. They'll do the best they can.
Yeah. I'm sure they will. As a Colts fan, I've seen it, not in live, but I've seen it obviously on TV at the Lucas Oil. All of a sudden, 10,000 fans seem like 50,000 fans. That's why I love the NFL, partly because it's a big come together. I don't want to get all like Disney movie on you, but it's on a Sunday, it's Jesus, barbecue, and football. Or that's what, as an outsider, I see looking in.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. When I was back home, before I got like a full-time grown-up job, I would work at a grocery store, and I made sure to say that I need Sundays off for religious purposes, but it was really for football.
I love that. I don't think that would work over here because we're not as big. But anyway, getting into the game now. Fantastic game. If you ask me, it's going to be one of the better games of the wildcard weekend, with maybe only the Titans versus the Ravens topping it. We spoke about this yesterday. Our strength, Jonathan Taylor. Your strength, Josh Allen. No, I'm not going to lie. For me, Josh Allen wasn't the guy. It's maybe I don't watch a lot of Bills football, so maybe that's why I'm thinking he wasn't the guy. Maybe he showed you lot why he is the guy and why he's still there. But how has he really matured his game this year? What has taken your team from an average to worst team to a playoff, maybe the better team?
What we've been able to do with Josh Allen should be recorded in science textbooks. Here's a guy who had all the tools, but none of the finesse, none of the technicalities of it. And our coaching staff went straight up analytics with him, talking about foot placement, hip placement. And I really do believe that most teams have the capability to do that with their players. And it's on the players to be able to translate that on the field. You watch tape of Allen in his rookie year, even last year, compare it to this year. You're talking about a guy who fundamentally and technically is doing everything right and everything different than what he was doing naturally in college and his first year in the NFL. So this is a guy who, they talk about generational talents. That's going to be the guy who comes out of college and immediately just puts up numbers. That's your Mahomes. He's a generational talent. Allen's also a guy who comes along every so often and is bad and technically blah. And then he gets transformed. It's a true Cinderella story what Josh Allen has been able to do.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people forget nowadays, and especially maybe the younger kids who seem to want success instantly. And if you're not winning the Super Bowl, your team's a failure and blah, blah, blah. And I think, a lot of younger ones have the impatience for teams not to build on a quarterback as much. And maybe that's why it's quite refreshing to see a team like Buffalo stick by Josh Allen, because they could have easily drafted over him or, done a Green Bay and bring Jalen Hurts in or something like that.
Looking back at what Buffalo did, they traded up for Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. So this was going to be a project that they were, invested in for a long time. I even think that if he had the same year this year that he did last year, we would still be fine with it. and maybe brought in a backup, like, if there was a Tannehill available, bring him in, sure, but still not really worried, and would have been happy with last year's performance again this year. But his transcendence is unbelievable. You look at what's going on in Miami and what we did to them last week. People are saying, is Tua the guy? And that's crazy talk. Tua is a guy who was injured and then was thrust into the spotlight, I would say, too early. And people are already talking about, would you trade him in a first for Deshaun Watson? I'm like, pump the brakes. Give your guy some time.
Yeah. And, the Dolphins are a team, and a good friend of mine, Phil, will be laughing at this because he's an avid Dolphins fan. Is he come out openly and said, we need to protect Tua. This guy's it. I've said I'm a big fan of Tua. And Dolphin fans have got to remember, since Dan Marino. But it would be really nice to see the Dolphins stick by Tua. But you guys, thank you very much, absolutely smacked the Dolphins up.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a bad defense you did that to. And that sort of scares me coming into this game.
Yeah, in comparing a Miami defense to your defense, Miami gives up yards, but they stop teams from scoring touchdowns. You guys give up less yards than they do, but you allow more touchdowns. So it's going to be really different to see what Josh can do. We've seen him all year be able to defeat man coverage defenses and zone coverage defenses. We've seen him be able to have success with 6 DBs or when he's being blitzed by 6.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a remarkable challenge for your defensive coordinator to draft up something to beat Josh Allen. Honestly, the best way to stop Josh Allen is to keep him off the field. A lot of teams that have been able to run on us have had success. You look at what Arizona did. They played us close. We needed a touchdown within the last minute to beat Arizona, but then they had the Hail Mary. They were able to run on us all game.
Yeah.
If that's what you guys can do, if you can stick with the run, if you abandon it like New England did, then you're gonna get beat. I think that's the ins and outs of it. Run the ball and stay confident in it.
Yeah. Okay, now talking about a couple of players who, the respective teams have revitalized their careers in a sense. You guys with Stephon Diggs and us with Xavier Rhodes. These guys used to be teammates at the Vikings, will know each other very well. No doubt that will be the one-to-one matchup to watch.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if your coaching staff try and swap so that it's TJ Carey or Kenny Moore trying to cover Stephon Diggs because Xavier Rhodes is going to know all these tricks, all these cadences, all these ins and outs. Do you reckon that's going to be the matchup, or do you reckon you're going to try and keep Xavier Rhodes, who's arguably our best corner, away from Stephon Diggs, who's arguably your best?
Is that what your defense does? Will they just sit your best guy on one side of the field where he's most comfortable, or will he follow?
No, we tend to zone, and we zone a lot. But I wouldn't be surprised if we come into this game, because you need someone covering Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
you just do. It's as simple as that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we matched by player. So we stayed in zone, but whichever side Diggs goes to at the scrimmage, I reckon we'll put Xavier Rhodes that side and maybe bring someone over to help.
Sure. You're going to have to do something that, the rest of the league hasn't been able to do. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had 122 catches on the season. So even if you got your best guy on him, even if you got, a zone coverage with a blanket safety, Allen is still going to throw Diggs' way because there's that ultimate trust. If maybe you had Rivers and Hilton all year be on the same page, you would understand what I'm talking about. But this is going to be, Allen could close his eyes and throw Diggs' way and feel 100% confident in that. And so would all the Bills Mafia. But even if you take away Diggs, I mean, you're looking at maybe not the flashiest, but technically the deepest wide receiver stack in the league. Beasley possibly hurt, but even then, what John Brown and Gabe Davis can do is they can make big plays fast. Where Diggs is going to be the guy to get 10, 10, 10, 10, Davis and Brown are going to go 40, 50. So is your secondary deep enough to be able to stop all these options?
That was a big question, I know, from a lot of Colts fans coming into this game. Is our secondary good enough to stop the passing game of Josh Allen? It's not our favourite position at the minute, let's say that. We are struggling a bit there. But there's some of that Frank Reich and, just brings to a team. I tweeted this out, and you're probably going to disagree with me, but I think Buffalo are a fantastic team.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, I'm a stats guy, so prove that. So I'll agree to that.
I mean, it's probably the same for every other fan, and you'll get what I mean when I finish it. But the Colts are a family, and what I mean by that is, I watched the hype video, what the Colts put out, and it just seemed, and Frank Reich said, most sports teams are out there to win. He just wants everyone on our team to be a better version of themselves. So then this team becomes, and there was just a warm, fuzzy feeling. I felt like a 12-year-old boy going to my first game. My dad carrying me on my shoulders and all that. So I know the Bills Mafia are a massive family, and I love them. I know they love Frank Reich.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're at the start of a journey. Win or lose, I feel like we're at the start of, this is the franchise now for the Colts for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
All going to plan, obviously, NFL. Things change quick.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like, win or lose, this leaves the Buffalo Bills?
Well, it sounds like you're where we were last year. So you need that loss in the playoffs to make your team come together. Yeah. So I'm happy to do that this week. Because that's exactly what happened to the Bills last year.
Yeah.
Go back and look at Josh Allen after the playoff loss. He's just so down. He's so defeated. But you can see a glimmer of motivation in his eye. And the whole thing about the Buffalo Bills is the process, which you guys stole from us. I've seen promoted messages on my Twitter about the Colts. So I don't know if you guys bought ad space or something.
I told them to do it purposely.
Yeah. I've seen stuff about the process with the Colts. That's been Sean McDermott's thing. His mantra has been humble and hungry. You got guys saying, you come here, you're going to get the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because when I was talking about the wide receivers, I didn't even mention Isaiah McKenzie, who had 3 touchdowns last week. He came over from Denver, a nobody, and has become, an unsung hero of this team pretty much. So, I'm happy to see a team building like that, because that's why Diggs got out of Minnesota.
Yeah.
They didn't have that culture. They didn't have that process. They didn't have that family atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we hate Tampa Bay, not the fact that it's Tom Brady, but the fact they're all ring chasers.
If it's Buffalo, Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, people talk about you want to overcome but I just don't want that narrative.
Yeah.
I just want him gone.
Yeah. For me, and Tampa Bay's can come out, he's a salty Colts fan, Brady, Manning, all that jazz. But for me, I just feel like Tampa Bay haven't earned it since back when Tony Dungy was in charge, when they were defensively one of the best teams I've ever seen. And, they really built a team, a culture. And then he came to the Colts and built a team and a culture. And they're a bit like, living in here over England, Manchester City.
Yeah, I was just going to say, who's your Premier League team?
Mine, Arsenal.
Oh, me too. How about that? There we go. There's a connection. But you think about the team who spends the most in the Premier League, right? Yeah. They just buy their team. That's exactly what Tampa did. There's no heart in that for the fan base then. They're just like, oh shit, hey, we're but it's just like, where's the pain? Where's the overcoming adversity? If Jameis Winston had a Josh Allen transformation, then Tampa Bay, you deserve it. But you went out and just got all these guys. You're disgusting. You know, and that's just like, you know, who's got the highest payroll in the Premier League?
Probably Chelsea or City.
Something, yeah. So I will always hate those teams.
What it was for me, I didn't feel like Jameis Winston. I still don't feel like Jameis Winston is a terrible quarterback. And I know everyone's going to say, "Oh, that 30 and 30 or whatever stat it was, the 30 interception." But I look at that and think, for me, there's something wrong with the coaching there.
Yeah.
You look at the Jets with Sam Darnold. Him saying "I see ghosts" is, although it was a meme for a while, it's also him saying, "Help me out a bit and tell me what they're doing."
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's so rare and it's so important to have a good coaching staff. I've always preached coaching over, you know, skill players.
Yeah.
Because get the coaching first, then bring the skill players in and have them buy in. If you just have all these skill players and you have a meh coach, what are you really going to do with it? Exactly. You know, you might have a winning season, but you're not going to be consecutively successful.
Yeah. Are you, well, I know you're an X's and O guy, but are you a superstition and stats and facts guy?
I'm not a superstitious guy at all. No. You know, I might shave tonight. I don't care. You know, I know my buddy Matt, who's my co-host, he said he's not shaving until we lose. I'm not into that. I even argued, bench your starters in Miami. I want health over momentum. I don't even believe momentum is a thing. Because in the NFL, you have 6 days, sometimes 5, to get ready for a game. So what is momentum? In baseball or in hockey or, you know, in European football, you play a few games a week. Momentum is important then. But I don't believe it is in the NFL.
Yeah. I'd say momentum is a gamely thing, like games in the NFL can and that's where the momentum comes in. What I would say is the trusty old Philip Rivers is 4-0 in wildcard weekend. Now, this scares me a bit because as summer, my wise old dad told me, he said, there's always time for a first. So this scares me a little bit, thinking, is this going to be the one?
Well, I mean, he's 4-0, but not in a Colts uniform. So that's a completely different thing. You know, those stats don't mean anything. I heard somebody read off, the Colts haven't won in Buffalo since blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who cares? It's not the same team. You know, you mentioned, you know, his stats in the wild card. Do you want his full playoff stats? Because I have that. You might not want me to read that.
Go on, shout them out if you've got them.
All right. So Rivers, for the whole in all of his playoff games, it's 5-6, 59% completion percentage, an 84.2 rating, 14 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, only 241 yards per game. So after that wild card game, the dude falls apart. I don't know what it is. It's weird. That might be one of those weird superstitious things people talk about. You know, I just think that if you're good, you're good. If you're bad, you're bad. If you're average, you're average. For whatever reason, Rivers in the playoffs is average. So, you know, that's why I said you guys need to run the ball.
We do need to run the ball. What I want to say is, you know, it's going to be a fascinating game. I believe fans like us, the normal fans, the working man fans, you know, the guys who are going to spend the monthly wage on a fan ticket to, you know, VIP just for that one opportunity. You know, I listen to us lot more than I listen to the pundits, you know, because the pundits have written this off. Buffalo are going to win. I know you don't like that. So I think going into the betting, you guys have a 6.5 point.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
It moved from 7. So that means that over the course of the week, people are starting to kind of believe more in the Colts. And I honestly do too. This isn't going to be a 56-28 game. Yeah. You know, this is going to be a game where, you know, a good front 7 against an offensive line of the Bills who's losing one starter. We don't have a run game to speak of. Your run defense is really good. You know, 11-5. Honestly, I don't know how you lost to Jacksonville in week 1, but could have been 12-4.
Yeah.
There's so many different things. You know, for you getting ready for your pregame for my show, I was like, I don't really know who this Colts team is. They've transformed over the course of the year, to trusting Jonathan Taylor, and that scares me because that's our biggest weakness.
That's our biggest weakness is we're never perfect for a full game. We haven't been all season. There's always been one quarter where the Colts have been diabolically bad. You look at the Bengals game, we didn't, they went 21-0 up, and that was against the Bengals. We can't afford to do that this weekend because it'll be 56-0 before I know of it if that is the case.
I mean, we had the Rams come back on us. Yeah. The Seahawks tried to slug it out with us, but couldn't. We, for most of the season, were horrible coming out of the half. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've been super hot coming out of the half over the last few weeks. So it looks like something clicked with the coaching staff on how to spot differences and make halftime adjustments. So if this game was played in week 6, I might be a little nervous. But honestly, and this is new for me, but seeing what Josh Allen can do, understanding that Brian Daboll, who I was very critical of last year, I trust everything he does. This is brand new territory for me. I've always been critical of some aspect of the Bills team. But right now, I'm super confident in everybody, top to bottom, front office, coaching staff, trainer, water boy. I love them all. So, I'm never going to say we're going to win by 20, but I do believe the line of 6.5.
What, for you personally, what is your biggest weakness as a Buffalo fan? You said I was overcritical of my team on your show, but I think that's just because I believe that section of the team should be better than what it is.
Sure.
Where do you think, if Indy take advantage of that, we are fucked?
Yeah, no, there are definitely pieces. I mean, there's no perfect football team. Yeah. Every team lost a game this year. So for Buffalo, on the offensive line, Josh Allen has gotten better staying in the pocket. So our pass protection is really good. But if we want to run, if we overcoach, which we haven't done this year lately, but at the beginning of the year, we overcoached. We were like, all right, we're going to try do this. We found our sweet spot now, but if we try and run, it's not going to work. We cannot run block. Our running backs have decent vision, but you guys are a really good run-stopping team and a really good play-action defense. And that's been our strength. So I think if we get too much inside of our own heads coaching-wise and try and do something different, that might set us back. Because if we go into the game and we just stick to what works, we have a better shot. But if we try and think about, all right, they're good against what we do, let's do something different, that's where I can get to worrying. And on the defensive side, for the first 10, 11 weeks, we all were very highly critical of our defense. Allowing big plays, allowing the Rams to have a massive comeback against us. We were saved by a pass interference call on 4th down with a minute left. In the run defense, absolutely. Just watch tape of the first quarter against New England. They gashed us. Sonny Michel, he sucks. He had 70 yards in the first quarter. Yeah. But we were able to score points, and they stopped running the ball. If you're able to play chess with us, you don't want this to be a track meet. If you play chess with us, this game can come down to the 4th quarter. And that's really what my worry is if Josh can't throw for 3 touchdowns in the first half, if this game stays close, your running game will be your path to victory.
It's going to be a tight one, that is for sure. Okay, moving on a little bit now to other teams,
Sure.
And specifically NFC least, with Washington being their division. I don't know if you can call them champions, division winners to say. Again, coming up against the horrendous Tampa Bay. I want a Washington win. I think everyone wants a Washington win. But, I think I said last night, they've given Washington a better chance of beating Tampa Bay than us of beating you. So
there's a chance there.
Do you see maybe a potential Tampa Bay slip up here?
Their defense is legit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been able to stop some of the best offenses in the league. Tampa Bay is firing on all cylinders right now, which is kind of a worry there. You're better than Washington offensively, though. I mean, Alex Smith is a really conservative quarterback. Antonio Gibson is really hot and cold. You know, you have a better rookie running back in that sense. But what they have that you don't have is a quarterback who will trust his number one wide receiver. Rivers spreads the ball out. Alex Smith will go to Terry McLaurin 10, 12 times a game.
Yeah.
I don't think Hilton has that many targets, or if he does, he doesn't have that many catches in one game this year. Mm-hmm. So with that mixed with their ability to get to the quarterback, I mean, with Brady, it's always been the case. You look at the Super Bowl loss to the Giants. You get to him, and then he kind of crumbles because he's very conservative. You know, he's not going to dance around the pocket. He's going to see pressure. He's going to go down. Mm-hmm. It's kind of Rivers-ish too, right? So if the Bills were going up against Washington in this game, I would probably be more scared of their defense than yours.
Okay.
So I maybe understand why teams are giving Washington more of a chance. But at the same time, Brady is having just as good a season as Allen is, except for the rushing stats. So it's a really interesting matchup there. Washington is 5-1 with Smith and 2-8 without him. So you got to look at them with Smith alone, and I think maybe that's why people are trusting Washington more.
I know my co-host who isn't here. Great timing on him, but he really wanted Washington's defensive coordinator to come to Indianapolis in place of Matt Eberflus, because Matt Eberflus is a guy at the minute who's getting all the head coaching interviews or offers to say. There's one guy on that Washington team who is obviously in question for Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's Chase Young. What a fantastic player and athlete this guy is. How have you seen much of this rookie, and is he what people say he is?
I mean, I really only watch Red Zone, but I mean, I read a stat sheet like, priests read a Bible. So Chase Young, if Aaron Donald didn't exist, he could even be in contention for Defensive Player of the Year in the NFC.
Yeah.
So that's just how big of an impact he has made on their team. I mean, mixed with Montez Sweat, I mean, they have a pass rush that is unrivaled, I believe, in the NFL. So if they can get through that Tampa Bay offensive line, I think the whole world's rooting for Washington in that game. It's unbelievable to me how anybody can be a Brady fan. I just think that only athletes are Brady fans because they see him winning and they're like, I want to be like that. Our hockey team, the Buffalo Sabres, 2 players listed Tom Brady as their sports hero. And I'm like, are you guys, what are you doing to me? How dare you even say that? But, I mean, I understand who's the Harry Kane.
Yeah.
He loves Tom Brady. So I think it's just an athlete thing, the love for Tom Brady. No normal human being should like Tom Brady because, it's just unfair how good he's been.
Yeah. Okay, coming back over to the better side of the footballing league at the minute. The AFC in a very fantastic game it's going to be, and that is the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Tennessee Titans. Just wow. What a game we have on our hands here.
Yeah. If I had a vote for NFL MVP, even being a Bills fan, I would vote for Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. What he's able to do, if you watch his highlight reel, here's a guy who has unbelievable vision and strength and speed. He is literally unlike anybody else I've ever seen. His ability to make a cut 3 yards after the line of scrimmage and then burn all these little fast DBs and safeties with how big he is, unbelievable. Tennessee would be nowhere without Derrick Henry. and that's my biggest measurement for MVP. How would you be without him?
Yeah.
And that's Tennessee with Henry. That's Buffalo with Allen. In Green Bay, they have an amazing running game. They could do it without Aaron Rodgers, I believe. So I would give Derrick Henry my vote for MVP. Absolutely.
It does pain me to say, but I fully agree.
Because you play him twice a year.
Yeah. You can't deny, if you are a fan of American football, you like Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You appreciate that guy's a freight train running through.
And I had him on my fantasy team, so I was a bigger fan of him this year than I ever have been.
This game is obviously a replay of last year's. Was it the wild card, the Titans and the Ravens? I can't remember if it was wild card or divisional.
I don't have that at the top of my head.
But it's a replay of their playoffs. Everyone thought the Ravens were going to win. They didn't. The Titans won.
Titans had a real underdog story last year. They won they won through to the AFC Championship game. So.
My worry is for the Titans, and this is not just me saying this, is Lamar Jackson's getting very hot.
Yeah.
And what a time of year for him to getting so hot he needs to go to the toilet.
Yeah. He's even throwing the ball better than he has all year. And if this guy can do a little Josh Allen and get the technical side of his passing game down, then he won MVP last year. He can win it for years down the road if he could become a better passer. They were the team that I did not want to play in the playoffs. So I'm really lucky that we didn't have to deal with them first round. Fingers crossed someone can knock them out. But, Lamar Jackson, his ability to run, it's what Arizona did to us. They could lead. They could put up – how many rushing yards did they have last week? Near an NFL record in rushing yards in one game they had last week. So that's a team that could really just do damage. And you know what they're going to do, and you can't stop it. So if for whatever reason Buffalo and Indy and Tennessee and Baltimore were on at the same time, I would be switching back and forth.
Yeah.
Because that's how amazing that game is going to be.
Yeah. Okay, next game, NFC, Seahawks versus the Rams. Probably not going to be one of the most watched games of the weekend.
But because there's no competition, I'm going to watch all the games. So,
so who are you taking in the Seahawks versus the Rams?
I would say even if the Rams had Jared Goff, you guys lost to the Jets. Washington deserves to be in the playoffs more than you do. How the mighty have fallen. Sean McVay was the oh my God, he's a football god. To you lost to the Jets. What? How does that happen? What is going on there? And then last week though, they looked all right with a backup quarterback against Arizona, a team who was trying to fight to get into the playoffs. So, the Rams are an enigma wrapped in a conundrum. But, Russell Wilson, how can you bet against him in the playoffs? And that's really all there is to say about that, right?
Yeah. Russell Wilson is, without a doubt, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You can't question that.
I have to plug in my laptop here.
So, as we know, Pete Carroll goes for about 20 sticks of gum every game. He must have hurt his jaw chewing that much. It's like he's on drugs or something. It's swinging like
steel. Then try and punch him. You're gonna hurt your hand.
Anyway, so I think as we say, that's not going to be one of the most watched games. Coming back to the AFC once again, and a very good game, although it's going to be nothing like the last week of the season. The Steelers versus the Browns. They've ended their 17-year playoff streak, and it's going to be over in the first weekend.
I hate the Browns for absolutely no reason. I think it's the misery loves company. So as long as the Bills have been bad, so has Cleveland. And now that we're good, you sons of bitches want to be good too. Have the spotlight in the Rust Belt, please. Baker Mayfield, stupid ass commercials. I hate his face. you know. But at the same time, you know, Pittsburgh has this swagger that I also hate, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Because, you know, I grew up, you know, being a big hockey fan. I also hate Sidney Crosby because he's such, you know, can we swear here?
Yeah, go for it.
Such a cunt, Sidney Crosby is. You know, he knows he's good. He plays like it. And he knows he can get away with penalties. I hate players that do that. So he'll give you a stick poke. He'll whine to the refs. I just, you know, I hate Pittsburgh because of Sidney Crosby. But I've been to 2 Browns games, Bills-Browns games. And each time there have been altercations.
Yeah.
Provoked by Browns fans. So I want them to be miserable forever.
Yeah. What annoys me about that franchise, and, you know, it's no fault of their own, but when it comes, there are genuine fans out there. There's loads out there.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting that. But as soon as the Browns have got good, they've now become a media team again. And everybody wants to watch the Browns. And, okay, I become a Colts fan because they won the Super Bowl and they was the team on the Madden 07 demo who were the best team. But that's how I become a Colts fan. But then I had to go through 2-12 seasons with Matt Hasselbeck, bless him, as our starting quarterback.
Yeah.
But
did you guys have like a fat quarterback that year too? I'm trying to think.
No,
he was with the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys had a really weird QB carousel that year. But to go from Manning 1 year to Luck, that's crazy.
Yeah. We went, you know, we obviously sucked for luck. We actively tanked.
As
much as anyone said we didn't, we did.
We did.
But yeah, I like the Browns. You know, I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a great quarterback. I'd love to have him at Indy. But what I don't like about the Browns is they always paint themselves as the underdogs, even though they are a very good team. We're coming into this game as underdogs because you are the better team than us. But we are still a very good team. So me personally, I'm like, okay, we're the underdogs, but we can't really play that underdog card because we are still a very good team.
Yeah, I'll always hate a team who plays the underdog when you're not the underdog. Yeah. I remember the Patriots tried that shit a few years ago. They were like, everybody thinks that we're old. They're counting us out. I'm like, shut up, you're the Patriots. You can't be the underdog. Oh my God, Tom Brady, he just has the worst face. I just want to punch him. Edelman too. Edelman's an asshole too. My God.
Yeah, this has turned into a Hate the Patriots podcast, and I love it.
I'll always revert and be more than pleasured to hate the Patriots. So.
Okay, so the Browns, congratulations. But who are you taking in this game?
I can't count them out because Nick Chubb is amazing. If the Browns lose, it's going to be because they outcoach themselves and because Baker Mayfield gets stupid. But, you know, if he plays to his strengths and, you know, focuses on Hooper and underneath to Landry, and if they can get lanes for, you know, Nick Chubb, you know, Wyatt Teller, their offensive tackle, a gift from the Bills, traded for a 5th-round pick, the highest-rated Pro Football Focus offensive tackle of the year. If they run the ball and work Mayfield away from T.J. Watt, I'm going to say they have a chance. I know they couldn't beat, the Steelers' backup last week, but you know I think that'll be closer than it is because Pittsburgh, Ben is cooked. If they can get to him, he's going to act like, you know, the statue that he is.
What I found when we played Pittsburgh, although they did beat us, when we blitzed Ben Roethlisberger, he panicked.
Yeah.
And he did crumble. It was when we sat off and gave him time. Like you give any quarterback time in the NFL and they make you pay. But we lost to both teams. I would say the better team we lost to was the Browns. They played better than Pittsburgh. I'd say in the Pittsburgh game we were just god awful. But how much footballing karma would it be if the Browns did beat Pittsburgh after Pittsburgh saying, "Oh, we're playing our backups and we're playing Mason Rudolph, who is nowhere near an NFL quarterback."
But do you want to hear all that talk about the Browns if they win? I don't want to hear it.
No.
I don't hear it.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
That means that if we beat you, Kansas City would get them, and we'd have to play Baltimore or Tennessee, and I don't want to do that. No.
It's all right. We'll win just for you.
Okay.
You don't have to do that.
That would help me then not have to deal with that stress. There might be some other stress, though. So.
Yeah. Well,
depression, maybe.
Okay, the last game in the wild card round before we get to the ending thoughts of the show. The Saints and another team who don't deserve to be in the playoffs, the Bears.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, who else could it have been in the NFC, though? I mean, who else? Who was on the bubble there that didn't make it?
Do you know, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Because
the NFC's been that trash this year.
It really has. The Bears, man, I mean, Trubisky, I mean, what a life he has to live being drafted before Mahomes and Watson, you know? So the pressure there, and to be kicked out and then brought back, just the up and down of that. I mean, I would have rather seen Arizona in. They were 8-8, same as Chicago. Minnesota 7-9. If the Niners weren't so injured, 6-10, they could have got in. But yeah, we're all stuck watching the Bears, and thank God it's going to be one and done. However, while I was saying that, I remembered that their offense has been remarkably hot before that Green Bay game.
Mm-hmm.
In my fantasy football league, my cousin, he rode David Montgomery through the playoffs because they have been unbelievable on the ground. If Trubisky can focus on just Allen Robinson and have a connection with him, their offense could be something. Where it's Montgomery, play action Robinson. There could be something there. But then again, New Orleans, I mean, Alvin Kamara, 6 touchdowns in one game. He could do it again.
Yeah.
You know, the Bears defense, good. Breeze, he's jittery. Upset alert, possibly here, honestly.
What I like about, and I think this speaks a lot for Mitch Trubisky and his character, is he could have easily turned around and said, "You didn't want me. I'm not playing for you."
Yeah.
He could have turned around and thrown in the towel when he was benched, gone off and had a sulk, and made it all about Mitch. But he didn't. You know, he swallowed his pride. He's got back out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he dragged that team kicking and screaming into the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen players do that before.
Yeah.
So it's a credit to Trubisky's, fortitude to be able to be like, hey, for my career, I got to ball out.
Yeah.
I think he gave himself another year.
Mm-hmm. And, it is nice to see. And they bought their ticket to the dance.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
It hasn't been Trubisky. I mean, he told himself he has to ball out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. They got in via defense and running. But, players like him, I mean, you look at how Matt Schaub still was in the NFL. He just retired.
Yeah.
There'll be a backup spot for him somewhere, so he'll still get his money.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you don't want to see him throw 40 times a game, though. So.
No. Anyway, that is all the games previewed roughly for the Super Wildcard extravaganza that is coming up starting tomorrow. We are the first game, 1:00 in America, and it will be 6 p.m. over here. It's going to be a fantastic show regardless. I said I was willing to still come on your show if we lose. I hope at some point we can get you on after you've let it sink in that you've lost and we've won the Super Bowl. Just final thoughts, okay. Last 2 teams. What are your thoughts on Kansas City and what are your thoughts on Green Bay?
I don't know how Kansas City was able to look so good, but also play close games against a few bad teams at the end there. Atlanta played them close, but Mahomes still looked amazing. They lost to the Raiders. There's an argument to be made about benching your starters and having a bye week. If they come out and are lights out, then I'll forever say that resting your players isn't a problem. I kind of believe that, and I expect the Chiefs to do that. But if they're sluggish for even a half, momentum is going to be a thing that people will talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. They didn't lose anything player-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't lose a step. Look at what their record was. Even with the close games, they found ways to win those close games. So there's really no reason they shouldn't be in the AFC Championship game again.
Yeah.
And Green Bay, probably what I would consider to be the most complete team, because they could play defense, they can run, and they can pass. They have a tight end, they have wide receivers, they have running backs. They have a secondary, they have a pass rush. Who could beat the Packers? You did.
Yeah, we did.
But you needed 2 turnovers in key spots to do so. So if the Packers lose, it's because they did it to themselves. I watched their game against Tampa Bay, where it looked like Rodgers was like, all right, we're going to lose. Who cares? On to next week.
Yeah.
Clearly, you can't have that mentality in the playoffs, but you never want to see that in a player.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't consider to be my MVP.
I think, one last thing. I was going to bring it up earlier, but I forgot. What I did like about both our teams, I saw the Bills dancing on the training ground. A lot of people were bad-mouthing that. I thought it was excellent. I love to see that lucidity, that just chilled out. We're going into this. I saw Frank Reich only did one full-on practice this week. He's let his players rest, have a bit of not a laugh coming into this, but it's all about staying loose going into this wild card weekend.
Yeah. If you're tense, if you're tight, you're going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And let's remember, this is a game.
Yeah.
This is a game that you play.
Mm-hmm.
For as much as it's a job, it's a game. And the only way to have a good game is to have fun. We have the motto, if you've heard the motto, look good, feel good, play good.
Mm-hmm.
So have that swagger, have that confidence. Because if you're not confident, you're going to play poorly. You have to believe in yourself 100%. So if you're dancing, you're having fun, you're feeling good, that's how you go into a game.
Mm-hmm.
If the coach is stressing on you, if the coach is hard on you, you're going to be afraid to make a mistake, then you will make a mistake.
Yeah. And that's a good place to end it. If you're afraid to make a mistake, you will make a mistake. What I am going to say as my fleeting final thought is I will be watching Remember the Titans facing the Giants any given Sunday. I'll be watching all of them just before the game, just so I can get hyped. I've brought some baby back ribs. I got chicken wings ready to make tomorrow.
Nice. Don't forget to watch Rudy as well, because if you're gonna be the underdog, you have to watch Rudy.
You have
if
to.
You're gonna eat chicken wings, you have to dip it in blue cheese. God damn it!
Of course.
Right.
I'm going to be searching up recipes tonight.
I
try my best. What are you going to be doing for the game tomorrow?
I'm not trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna whatever's in the fridge is what's in the fridge. If my wife, she's the one who wants to make something, so you know what? I'm not gonna ask for anything. I'm remarkably nervous about these playoffs because if you look this as good as we did in the regular season, and if you throw up a clunker in the playoffs, then what was it all for?
Yeah.
So I'm not carrying that confidence of how good we were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but a little nervous because I have 20 years of misery still on my shoulders. I haven't let go. I don't know how to. That's the Buffalo in me. So, we're just gonna watch the game and drink a few beers, and if we make we're aiming to make a chicken wing dip because I haven't found good chicken wings here. I don't know. I'm really good at making chicken wings, but I haven't found good ones. My standards may be a little bit higher than what you're used to here, but chicken wing dip is just gonna take shredded chicken, cream cheese, blue cheese, hot sauce, mix it all together, throw it in the oven, mozzarella cheese, melt that on top, then dip some chips in it. Crisps. Well, no, a tortilla chip, you're going to call it chip, right?
we tortilla chip nacho, however what you want to put it.
Nacho. Yeah, so
I'm happy with
chicken
that.
wings with the nacho. That's pretty much been our go-to. If we're gonna make a game day food, it's gonna be that.
And with that, we became a cooking shy for just 1 second there. But to wrap it up now, because we have been talking for 55 minutes.
Oh, it went by like that.
It went by like that. Again, big shout out to the sponsor, Northern Summit Clothing. Please go and check them out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Alex, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Just again, shout out your Twitter handle, your Instagram, your red, white, and Buffalo Blues.
Yeah. So that has its own tag on Twitter. So the RWBB_pod for that specific, but at UK_Bills is the Twitter. Last weekend we hit like 1,000 followers in 1 weekend, so now we're up to like 3,200 some followers on Twitter. Bills Mafia, shout out for that. On Facebook, Buffalo Bills UK. Our YouTube, which I'm in charge of, that's my baby, Buffalo Bills UK on that. It's where you'll see all of our previews and the interview that we had with you. So that'll be on the YouTube, Buffalo Bills UK.
Excellent. Going to stop it there. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Go Colts. Thanks for watching.